Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Kind of Hot, Kind of Healthy. We are at episode 24. How does that feel?
Wow.
Isn't
That
that
I feel
crazy?
yeah, and, like, every time I don't know why I do this, like, multiple times, but I was seeing, like, when we're gonna hit episode 100, but I don't think it's until 2025.
Right, because if you do an episode a week, there's 52 weeks
Yeah,
in a year,
and then we only
but
did a couple before, yeah.
right. But I love
Mhm.
I love the ambition. I love the goal setting. We know where we're going.
Yes.
And that's important, right? Like we
Mhm.
have the roadmap. But yeah, and I remember, I think it was in episode like one or two, Maddie was like, "Oh my God, what if we like I think we could get like a sponsor in the first 25 episodes." And I was like, "Okay. Okay, you know what? Let the girl live. She is just trying
Listen,
her
when
best."
I commit to something, I commit hard.
Oh,
Like, I
she
was
does.
I was
Yes.
talking to my mom the other day because I had, it was, like, the monthly, ladies only shooting class, and I went,
Mm.
and I love it because like, it's just women only. There's, like, only so many people in the range. The instructor's great, and he puts us through drills, and it's completely free, so I'm, like, doing
Oh my
that.
God. That's
I
amazing
know.
that it's free.
I know, but also it's like it makes you like show up and come to
Yeah.
the range, and then you're like, okay, I'm sucking. I need to come here more, or practice
Right.
more. And I was shooting, and he's like, "Can I record you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And like me thinking, What?"
Like, yes, record me. I want to like see how badass I look.
It's like I'm already recording myself.
Yeah,
I
I
was like, "Yeah,"
know.
and like here's me thinking he's gonna be like, "Oh, you need to fix this. You need to fix that." And he goes, look, watching it in slow mo. He's like, "Look at that hand positioning. That is like professional." And I was like, "Say no more."
Yes.
And
Oh my
my
God.
mom was like, "You could probably get really good at this." And the scary thing is being like full of myself, I can get really good at anything because I like
Hmm.
hyper fixate on things. So
Yeah.
like tell
Yeah.
me it looks professional, I'm gonna be pro next week.
Oh, yes. I relate to I don't know if it's delusion or
Yes.
confidence, but like
Both.
I genuinely feel like I could be good at almost anything. Would I be
Oh yeah.
amazing? No,
No.
but I'm gonna try it and do it and like just keep going at it. And I don't
Yes.
care if it takes me a while. I'm like so determined. Like the type A in me is like,
Yep.
we are riding for like it working out. So I don't know. I mean, like, I love that for us because
Mhm.
what else? What else do you need? Like, if you have a little delusion, you have a little confidence, you can literally conquer anything. And
Yeah.
amazing.
I know, and then I got humbled right back onto my butt when I had my Spanish class, and she goes, "Your Spanish is really, like, splotchy." I was like, "Oh."
You know what?
10 steps forward, 20 steps back.
You're like, bitch, watch me. Just like
Watch me shoot a gun, and you'll
that was all. No, no, that was all I needed to now
Oh,
like slay
yes.
this Spanish class.
Oh, yes, now I'm like, "Damn it, I gotta put some more time into that."
Yeah. Oh my God. No,
Uh,
James taught me or tried to teach me how to snowboard one time.
mhm.
And I'm not going to take things too seriously. Like when I'm learning something new, if I allow myself to get frustrated, I will, I just don't get frustrated. I'm like, it's fine. We're new. No one's mad about it. Let's just keep doing it. He was getting so frustrated because I was like not serious enough. He's like, Allie, like you keep falling. Like, come on. You have to like try and do, like, come on, get serious. And I was like, no. What if we just like didn't get serious because this is supposed to be fun? And I was like, I can teach myself anything. But like as soon as somebody tries to get like too serious, I'm just like it's not that deep. It's snowboarding. And I haven't
Mhm.
not been back since snowboarding. Love skiing. He's also always trying to like give me like tips. I'm like, I'm here for the bit, okay? I'm here to like operate ski, have a drink, have some fun, and I'm not trying to like be competitive and
Mhm.
crazy and amazing, but like if I want to push myself, I push myself. You know,
Mhm.
like I'm good when I want to be like extra good, but like that man's, oh my God, he takes the sports so seriously. I'm like, okay, okay, like chill out a little bit. But I want to get back to snowboarding. I want to because part of me is like,
Uh-huh.
I can totally do it
Uh-huh.
if I'm by myself.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be hard. That's for me, it's like I can't do anything like leisurely. It's like basically I just signed on for like a full on career, so I need to get
Yeah.
good at it fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how my brain works.
Do you do you work well like if Joel's trying to teach you something or you're trying to teach Joel something, like do you work well in the fact of like you have the same ways that you learn, or is it like polar opposite?
I'm trying to think the last time like I taught him something or he
Yes.
taught me something because like if we're talking gym wise, like when we actually do work out together,
Yeah.
like he doesn't want critiques and want help. But
Yup.
then he'll be like, you're not even like looking at what I'm doing. I'm like, you just yelled at me for giving you a critique. So like I'm just gonna shut up. I'm not gonna say anything.
Yes.
Like, do you want help? Ask me for my help, you know?
Yeah.
So we are both very visual,
Yeah.
very, very visual learners. Like I need to see it written out, like spelled out. Someone just simply telling me something, I just can't like
Yeah.
I when people like, like how if you ask like someone over the age of like 40, like, oh, where is it? Instead of just giving like the exact address, like, oh, you take a left here, take a left there. I was like, mm-hmm,
How am I
mm-hmm.
supposed to remember that?
It's like nothing. I can't visualize anything. Like I'm like, oh, yep, sounds great. Like just tell me the address. I'm putting it into ways. I don't care.
Stop trying to give me like the fucking no, no, no. Just write it down. I'm never gonna remember it. That
No.
doesn't work with me.
Mm-mm.
Oh, no, no. What was like we talked about this before, but like life before GPS would have got lost.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I agree. Visual learner. And I also agree if James he does not like if I critique him on something that he's new at. And it's not, I feel like I'm not coming from a place of like, you're doing this wrong, but it's
Mhm.
like, let me help you do it better.
Yeah.
But we're
Like
both
quicker.
Tauruses, so we're both super stubborn. So that's
Uh-huh.
the fact of like, I'm never going to give up doing something. But then he's on the fact of like, I don't like to be told like that I'm doing something like
Oh.
that it's not correct, or I don't know. It's really funny because like I see us both get frustrated the same way, but about different things. And I'm
That's
just like,
funny.
we are literally psychotic.
Wait, what is okay, is Aquarius the same thing as a Taurus? Not like in the same realm as a Taurus? Like they're both like that's what it would be? Like I don't understand any of that stuff.
Okay. I don't understand a lot. I just know like the qualities of a Taurus are like me to a
Okay.
T, and they're also
Okay.
very much him to a T.
Okay.
And like Tauruses are not supposed to be compatible with each other because like you're really stubborn and headstrong,
Uh-huh.
but we're very stubborn and headstrong in different ways. So it's like
Mm.
we're like two ships passing in the night. There's never one thing that we're like stubborn about, like on the same thing. It's just kind of like you have your things you're stubborn about, and I have my things, and they never are like lining up. So, like, certain things that I get really hung up on, he's like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's fine. Like, oh, sure, do whatever. It doesn't phase me. And then, like, vice versa. So, I don't know.
Mhm.
It works. But yeah, no, I'm a Taurus to a T. Anytime, like, you see those meme pages about, like,
Yeah.
I'm an Aquarius, blah, blah, blah.
I'm Aquarius.
Yeah. No, I am like a Taurus, like through and through, always have been. It's sometimes it's toxic because like it's always like
Mm.
Taurus like never want to leave their bed. And I'm like, don't call me out. I could sleep for literally 18 hours a day.
I can
Sleep.
sleep a lot too. I thought I slept for 10 hours, but then I was like, "Oh yeah, daylight savings." So I only slept for 9, but I'll
Did
take
that fuck
9.
you up?
Oh no. Well, I mean, okay, you've probably seen this on TikTok, but there is so much research and also like duh that women need more sleep than men due
Yes.
to I'm forgetting everything, but with our hormones, like we regenerate more hormones. I
Yep.
believe I might be botching this while we're sleeping. So go
Yep.
figure. So women need more sleep than men. Like I could have told you that from day one. And just from like my own self, like Joel
Yeah.
can get away with like 7 6 7 hours. I'm like, I need 8 to 10 and I feel great.
Yes. I need
And
at least 8 at the bare minimum.
yes, at least 8. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna go get 10 hours of sleep. And then it was daylight savings and it was only 9. I'm like, well, it's still 9.
At least it was 9. I mean, I
Yeah.
woke up and I was so exhausted. And then I fell asleep twice throughout the day. I was like, why am I so fucking tired?
Jeez.
Yeah, I like it. I never take naps because like I used to have really bad insomnia. And so
Mhm,
like because I was like really depressed. So I would like
mm,
sleep and then I would like be so exhausted and then I would like be able to sleep a little bit and then
mhm,
my insomnia would like kick in the middle of the night. And
mhm.
it was like a terrible cycle between from like 2020 to like 2022. And
Oh,
I was on like a couple of different like sleep medications because like nothing was working. Like I
uh-huh.
looked at my hormones, looked at all like I was doing everything that like you should. And the anxiety was anxietying. But now I sleep like a baby and I like try not to nap because that's gonna fuck with me. But
Yeah.
yesterday I was big sleepy girl. Like I have no idea what the fuck. I also think like maybe my allergies are coming into play because it's like getting nice out and I'm like I feel more congested. So I'm like, oh fuck, I need to like
Mhm.
get a nasal lavage up in this bitch and like drain my sinuses. Like all the cute girl stuff that you do.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of sleepovers, I saw a TikTok about
Yeah,
this.
who was talking about a sleepover? I was talking about
Sleep.
sleeping, sleeping over with my mans. Okay, so you saw
Okay,
TikTok.
about sleepovers, and you saying sleeping made me
Yes.
think of sleepovers. When you have kids, are you gonna
Yep.
let them have sleepovers?
So I always see this conversation on TikTok and
Uh-huh.
I as a even probably up to a couple of years ago, I was like, why won't people let like their kids have sleepovers? I was never friends with anybody that couldn't have a sleepover. Like all of my like friends our parents were like very close. Even in eighth grade, me and one of my best friends, we went to Florida with this girl that was like new in our school because like we befriended her and her mom was like, oh, let's do a weekend trip to Florida. And my mom
Wow.
met the parents, like she met the parents when she was dropping us off.
Oh my god.
So like I don't like I don't know. And my mom was like, my mom and my best friend's mom were like, is this weird? Like we're gonna meet them when we drop them off. But, like, is it weird? And I was like, Mom, it's literally not weird. Like they're such a nice
So
family.
weird. It's so
Like
weird.
I don't we had the best time. So
Well,
like
I'm
I don't
glad.
like it was awesome. And
Mhm,
I don't know, I never had friends that like couldn't have sleepovers. Um, but I also, as you get older, you understand why
mhm,
it can be a dangerous situation and why you may be on guard. Um, I think I will let my kids do sleepovers. If they don't want to, then I will be the mom that's like, I'll pick you up when everyone's going to bed. Like if you don't want to stay over, like that's cool.
mhm,
Um, but I don't know. I mean, I guess it's totally situational. Like I would let my kids sleep over. Like if my best friends, like if they have kids, let them sleep over their house. It wouldn't cross my mind.
mhm,
Um, but I guess like newer friends, maybe I would be
mhm.
more cautious about, but I don't know. I mean, I can't say that for sure because I didn't have that experience when I
Yeah.
was younger and I'm not a mom. So that like that the mother instincts haven't
Mhm,
kicked in, so it could
mhm.
totally change, but I would love to hear your perspective because your reaction to me going
Well,
to Florida with like kind of strangers is funny. Well, it's not funny because like it's kind of weird, but also
yeah. I mean, I guess when you think about, like, what we did when we were at sleepovers, and, like, I know
yeah.
I don't know if my parents keep up with this, but, like, yeah, we did stupid shit, of course, we all did, snuck out, did stuff we
Yep.
shouldn't have been doing, like, I feel like there were many times where, like, I should have maybe died, but I didn't, so
Oh,
we're
totally.
here.
All the
Praise
time. All
God.
the time.
God. Dumb, 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 dumb. I think about that, right? And then I think about how when kids get assaulted or bullied, or it can be with friends. Like there were some really bad bullying instances where I was like a part of seeing someone
Oh,
getting bullied, right?
yeah.
At a sleepover. Like,
Really?
yeah, I had like a toxic friend group, and like
Okay.
maybe that was my era of being very it also came off being very bitchy at the same time, and you're like a
Mm.
kid, you know?
Yeah.
And, was I mean? Probably, but, like,
Yeah.
also, like, she was a bitch to me, so you know who you are. You know who you are. But and then I think about the statistics of children getting, assaulted, getting, molested, all of those things. It is the close family. A lot of
Yeah.
times it's someone they know. And I personally think as a child-free person, not having kids, keep that in mind, I wouldn't have let my hypothetical kids have sleepovers because they're more likely to get molested. They're more likely to something to happen because you could send them to someone's house and you know them. What if someone comes over? What if they sneak out because their parents are so easygoing, let them do whatever, and you don't really know that? What if they go somewhere, something happens? I just think it's like I've just watched too many videos of people explaining it is the people they know that does
Mm.
this. It could be the
Mhm.
grandpa. It could be, I mean, it truly could be anyone. You just don't
Mhm.
know. So I'm just
Yeah.
like, I just can't imagine. Like my parents let us do them. We had great memories of having sleepovers and doing this, but I also know how much we took advantage of the house we were staying at to do stupid shit.
So my devil's advocate part to that is like, do you feel like they would be missing out on like some fun, like preteen, teenage years? Because like we used
Mm.
to fucking I got away with murder. Like literally. Like I would come home fucking blasted if I had friends sleep over my house and
Yeah.
I would just be like, "Hi mom, we're home." And then we'd go in the basement and we'd like be so fucked up and just like order food and just like whatever.
Mhm.
My mom never knew it. Like I'll tell like we'll talk like once I was in college, I like started telling her stories. I was like, "You guys never knew Jackson." She was like, "Yeah, we had no idea." And they would like, it's just like a funny thing now.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not saying that like I want my future kids to like be coming home wasted.
Yeah.
But I also like think back like those memories were like, I don't know, they were like so fun and like, I don't know, I feel like
Mhm.
probably a lot of people would disagree with me, but like it was like it was such a fun part of like middle school, high school, and like, did we do a lot of stupid shit? 100%.
Mhm.
But I don't know. Like, I always had a safe space to come home to. We always had
Mhm.
like our friends' parents, like, or people like it was a tight knit like like
Community.
area community. And
Yeah.
so it was always like, even if you're like, you know, you've done something crazy or like you drank too much or whatever, there was always a place that was like safe to go. And I
Mhm.
think it was just like, you know, our parents kind of like didn't really think too much into it. One, because like of just like how they grew up. I think as we're getting like to the next generations, like we're becoming a
Yeah.
little bit more aware. Um, I don't know. But I guess if I was ever caught or my mom found out in the moment, she'd probably been like fucking bullshit. But now she's just like, "Oh, what are you gonna do, you crazy fucking kid?" She's like, "Wait till you have kids." And I'm like, no, for sure. They're probably gonna be psychopaths because like I was, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the answer will evolve, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think yeah, who knows? Let's say I had a kid and I'm like, "Oh, it's fine." But, like, I don't know, I just think because we were just talking about, last episode about, protecting kids online and things
Yeah.
like that, and it's just like, there's just a lot, I think, that, of course, you can protect them from and then can't protect them from.
Right.
So,
Right.
I don't know, I just think it's just I'm just scarred from seeing one too many things about how it's close family and friends and how it happens most often at sleepovers. I'm just like, "Yay," like, I don't know, I don't think I could allow that situation, If I can control
Mhm.
that, I think I would control that because, yeah, they are great memories, but also, like, many times should've went to jail. Should've
Totally.
gotten
Yeah.
caught, should've died, should've been in a car accident, like, but should've I don't know, I can keep going on, should've been, like, on house
Oh,
arrest, like, what?
yeah, I know. Honestly, I can like there are just like memories of like being in the middle of the woods with snow everywhere. And I'm like, we should have, like, why are we so wasted in the middle of the woods?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
why are we like sitting on rocks? Like, just like fucking drinking and smoking and just like living our best
Mhm.
lives. I'm like, this is like so weird, but I don't know. I mean, where else were we gonna go and drink?
Oh, I had a friend who her parents were just very, 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 very strict.
Okay.
And uh her best friend, who is also a good friend of mine, very, very strict parents. So what do? We have a house party in one of their basements.
Hmm.
And I remember someone brought out, I'm pretty sure it was Molly, and she was like, "Do you want to take some?" And it was like the stuff like on like a like it kind of reminded me of like this Listerine strips.
Yeah.
And I remember her holding it. I was like, "Do I want to take Molly? This is not going to be the first time I try it. No thanks." I was like, "I'm good." And then I just remember like I just went upstairs and like that was that. And then I'm pretty sure they ended up getting caught because like how would they not get caught? You know what I mean? But yeah, that was a. I remember an interesting moment. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, "Oh, that's what it looks like." Okay, I'm good. I'm not going to partake.
My
uh,
toxic trait was I'm trying everything.
no! Ellie!
Like,
Uh,
yeah, I don't know, but I guess that might make me a stricter parent
yeah,
because I understand
yeah.
everything
Or a
is
more
super
understanding
fucking
parent.
accessible. I will be more understanding for sure,
Yeah.
but I would hope that James and I would like be aware of like if our kids were coming home drunk at like the age of 14, 15. Like,
Yeah,
you know what?
I would hope
Wasn't
so.
mad about it though. In the moment, wasn't fucking mad about it. I
I
got
was
away with shit.
I was living my best life.
You know what? Girly Pop was living her best life.
Oh god. I also we since we talk about so much of like stuff we saw on TikTok and
Yes. Oh,
whatnot.
you got good ones.
Yes. I don't know how long we want it. We should really I wish Zoom had like a timer in the corner so I could see like how much time has passed. I think you could see it on yours, can you?
I
No.
can't, but it's about a half hour right now.
Really? Since we started?
Yeah. About
Oh.
maybe 20 because we chit-chatted for a little bit.
Yeah, I wish I maybe I should like start a timer on my phone every time.
That's
But
what I was
anyway,
actually just thinking, like when
yeah, it
you
was that would
hit
be
record.
helpful.
Yeah.
Oh, so I saw a TikTok about this family and they eat carnivore style. Now, I
I
have
do you know the username? Because I
no,
just saw
I
a
was just
similar
like
family.
I might
Okay.
have sent it to you. The
Okay.
guy had like a beard.
Yes, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yes. And I am never I never tell anyone like this won't work for you or has to work for you, has to work for everyone. It is like each adult, keep this in mind, adult with my words here,
Yep,
can
yep.
choose what works best for them. And he's showing how their family eats carnivore style in their kids. And I just thought this was so interesting because my first thought was wow, like I wonder if we did a case study on this, if these kids are going to grow up and have a toxic relationship with everything that is not quote unquote carnivore. So carbs, vegetables, fruit. Now I don't know how much they incorporate veggies, fruits, grains into their
I
diet.
on his if I'm thinking of the same person, which I believe it is, in the video that I saw, he was like, "Of course we love fruits and vegetables, but
Mm.
it's not a part of our diet."
So they don't eat it then. They
I
love
would
them.
say probably sparingly. Unless,
Okay.
also sometimes people just do shit for the bit, like Liver King.
Oh, yeah, we all knew he was on steroids,
No,
duh.
no, 100% he was on steroids, but he was like eating like raw like bull testicles.
Ugh,
Like you
couldn't be
can't tell me
me.
that's not for the bit. He was like, "Oh yeah, like we don't shower. I don't wipe my ass. Like I don't need
Oh,
to wipe
yeah,
my ass." Like
that's for the bit, yeah.
so I wonder if some people that follow like a carnivore diet, one, they probably smell fucking gross. Sorry, you're like probably sweating out like nasty shit. Like you don't eat fruits and vegetables. How are you
Mm.
pooping? What is happening?
I mean, your body would we can ask Alyssa when she comes on.
We need to ask her because that always makes me wonder. I would feel like you would smell so bad. Like you'd be sweating out just like all like all this like protein, like you're, oh my
Yeah.
God. And at some point, I don't know if they realize, but like you can only have so much protein. It's gonna start to switch over to carbs. Like it's,
Yes.
your body's gonna be like, holy fuck, we are
Yep.
dying. Let's try and take this protein and use it differently. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. So like what else did you see? Like you're wondering, are they eating fruits and veggies? They've got to be having at least a little. Maybe they're kids or
I didn't snoop that much into it, but I was just like,
yeah,
that's just so interesting because we did talk about like how your relationship with your body, with your food, with exercise, with everything affects your children's. And I'm just thinking like
totally.
long term, like for example, the almond mom thing, how you guys remember we talked about like
Yes.
talking about how your house like ate like birds, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like
Yeah,
that stuff sticks with you for life. So I'm
totally.
just wondering like are these kids going to grow up and like really have a rough relationship with other food that's not deemed
Hmm.
carnivore and that's not seen as healthy or safe? And I'm like,
Yeah.
that is just so interesting. And, we'll see in real time and, 10 years or so. And probably her talking about, yeah, I grew up on carnivore and here's 5 reasons why I don't do it. Who knows? Like,
Yeah, 100%. I mean, as a child, which this is another question, um, if you were a vegetarian or a vegan, you would, I assume, want your child to be a vegetarian or a vegan because you're probably doing it for ethical reasons.
yeah.
But is that a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, obviously, like, I would like to give my child the choice as soon as they kind of like understood. They're like, oh, like, oh, I see, Tommy's having some chicken nuggets. Like, can I have some of those? And I'd be like, oh, well, we're vegetarian or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I think kind of putting a diet onto your child
Is
is weird.
yes.
Um,
I
I
mean,
mean,
didn't they have multiple vegan couples that their babies like died or almost died
yeah,
because they were
because
malnourished?
yes, yeah, and that's the thing. They are, you know they're the baby does not have a choice, toddler does not have a choice,
Yeah.
whatever, so you're supposed to care for them, and if you're doing it for an ethical reason, one could argue, like with a vegetarian or a vegan, one could argue, um this is like a belief that I have, so this is how I'm going to feed my child. I don't know if the carnivores have that much on their side as far as ethics, but
Well, I
I
mean,
still think it's weird regardless. I
yes.
think you should be
Yes.
properly nourishing your children with food across the board and not
Yeah. Yeah.
creating bad relationships with
Yeah.
food,
Yeah.
because you're right. Like it's totally going to come and bite these parents in the ass when their children are, they get a little bit older, they're going through shit. They see their friends at school eating like all types of food, and they start to feel, some type of way because they can only have like a carnivore diet. Like it's weird. It's so weird. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just makes me think like, ooh, but it's just more testament to that, you gotta be careful what you're eating and
Yeah.
what you're telling your kids good, bad, that type of thing, because you
Yeah.
can F them up for a long time.
Children are like a sponge, right?
From my
They
experience, Remy does everything I do. I mean,
right.
she scrolls on TikTok, she
I've seen it.
swears,
Hmm.
I don't know what else. I have
She
no bad
loves
habits.
squats. She loves squats. She is always in the kitchen whipping up something
She's
delicious and good for
she's
her body.
bitchy. She's
Mm.
bitchy when she doesn't get her sleep.
Oh, girl, been there, Remy. I hear you. But
Uh,
whatever you're doing, and same kind of on the same topic, similar topic, totally different um, um diet, I guess.
okay.
Kids, whatever they see their parents doing, they're most likely going to do. They're going to absorb, they're going to hear things, the way that you talk about your body, all of these sorts of things. Bethany Frankel had a
Mhm.
TikTok. I saved it to my phone because I was like afraid it was going to get deleted, because I was like, this
Uh-huh.
is so cuckoo bananas and I want to
Uh-huh.
use it for
Today.
this episode. But she was basically saying, so she battled with an eating disorder,
Mhm.
very very thin. She has talked about it. She has a book when she like first got on the Housewives, like she didn't write the book for the Housewives, but like it was around that time. She had a book called Naturally Thin. Skinny
Mm.
Girl is her brand. Like it's all very toxic.
Mhm.
Um, and she basically kind of like coined like a skinny margarita, if you will. Like,
Oh, wow.
I'm sure people were making them just without like the syrups and all that sort of stuff, but like that was her, like, that's her big thing. She's like known for the skinny girl margarita. And then it became like this whole empire. So
Mhm.
she did a TikTok about like how she stays thin. She's like, try everything and eat nothing, something like that. And
What?
I don't want to mince words too much, so I definitely, when we put this video out, I'm gonna stitch it so that everybody
Yeah.
can see it. But the biggest takeaway that I saw from it, she was like, I'm never full. I never eat to the point of being full because I don't like being full. And to me and to you, that should be the biggest red flag, because
Ugh.
that means she is never eating enough, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to be uncomfortably full. There's a difference between being full and satisfied and versus overeating and being bloated and just not feeling good. Nobody
Yeah.
likes the latter
Yeah.
feeling. It's
Yeah.
not comfy. But I do like to eat until I'm full and I'm
Yeah.
satisfied so that I'm not constantly thinking about food. Um, and she's like, if I am trying all these donuts, I have a bite of each, and you try everything, you eat nothing. And basically saying, like, don't eat the whole donut, have a bite of the donut. I don't know about you, but to me, that seems crazy. That seems
Mhm.
toxic.
Mhm.
Um, Telling people to just have bites of things, never really get full. This is how
Mhm.
you stay naturally thin.
Mhm.
You have a daughter.
I was
You are
gonna say, doesn't
you
she
are
have kids?
talking, she has one daughter. You are talking to so many people right now. You have such a big platform, and to just
Yeah.
like be sharing this, you have like no what authority do you have on this other than that you're thin and you've stayed thin?
I mean, even if
Like
it was satire, you
no, it
know,
absolutely was
but
not.
I'm
This was
I'm
a
saying,
serious video.
right, even if it was satire, like, people were gonna take that and
Damaging.
run with it.
Yep.
Yes, and it's just like we talk about, like, your, people who have a bigger platform, what
Hmm.
they, quote, unquote, "should be doing with their platform" when it comes to political issues, to this, to that, to whatever, but, like, to come out and say that when you have a bigger platform, you're right, it is very damaging, and people are gonna see that and be like, "Oh, she's thinner, I want to replicate that."
Hmm.
I mean, I
Hmm.
didn't think back to when we talked about your experience with the magazines, with
Hmm.
your sister at prom season, like, all of those things, like, we are very impressionable at a young age. Who is predominantly on TikTok?
Hmm.
Younger women, teens, like, young adults, impressionable people, so it's just like, and then, like, she has a daughter, and if, like, my mom was saying that shit, and let's say I was planning on having kids, like,
Yeah.
I would have a serious conversation, like, "We do not talk about body image or this and that way." It's just like, "Why are you pushing diet culture?" Like,
Yeah. And she used to, if I'm remembering correctly, like she would like sometimes put on like her daughter's like clothes or whatever. And she'd be like, oh, I can fit into this shirt or whatever. And just kind of perpetuating this narrative of
yeah.
like the kind of like glorifying being thin. Like no adult woman should be fitting into like their kids like tiny little clothes. Like that is weird. Why are you posting that? It's just kind of be like, ah, look at me. And also, I mean, maybe she talks to her daughter about food differently, but I can't imagine that. Like,
No.
if this is how she really feels and this is what she believes and like this is how she stays naturally thin, that's probably what her daughter is seeing at home, like nibbles and bites of things.
Mm.
And that's not necessarily like, why is mom like just always kind of nibbling on food? Like, why aren't you like having
Yeah.
like a
A
normal
meal.
meal? Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't,
I
I
mean,
was
how
just
much
like, oof.
How many women have come to you, applied to work with you, or just talk to you and say how, like, they're just, like, hungry, so hungry at night, and they're eating everything in sight, and you
Mhm.
realize, like, they're
Mhm.
just grazing all day and never
Yep.
having a meal. I'm like,
Yep.
"Hey, you need to eat, like, an actual meal, please, that's
Yeah.
nourishing and not just a few bites here and there." Like,
Right.
that
Right.
is not how we create a healthy and strong metabolism. We need to eat
Yeah.
actual food, and it's just like, thank you for making like, when did she make that video, by the way? When was that posted?
Um, I didn't get it from her account. It was like a re-upload. So I don't know if
Mm.
she deleted it. That's why I saved it.
Oh,
Um,
smart.
but I mean, she has from watching her on reality TV, like from her start,
Mhm.
she has this like her brand, like and with her books, like Naturally Thin, like all about like how to, stay thin and all this
Wait,
sort
was
of
it
shit. And
oh, so it's more of, like, informational, not, like, how she suffered with her eating disorder.
no, 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 no. It's like
Oh,
it's like
wow.
it's under the guides of like health and living a healthy lifestyle. And
Yeah, let's
we're
ask
gonna put
someone.
the book on the screen, but let me see like when you search it. And I mean she's been on, I've watched her on TV for so many years,
Yeah,
and you just get the
impression.
the um the impression over and over and over again. So it's called okay, let's loading.
Like, let's have someone who is struggling with an eating disorder, with body image, with struggling to have a healthy relationship with food. Let's have them write an informational book to help you with your health.
So
Make it
it
make
says,
sense.
A naturally thin, unleash your skinny girl and free yourself from a lifetime of dieting. Includes a 1 week plan to get started.
I would love to see that 1 week plan and just see how
What do you mean,
debauchery it
unleash the
is.
dieting? This, and then she has another book called The Skinny Girl Dish, Easy Recipes for Your Naturally Thin Life. So, like, you're saying that we're unleashing the diet, but when you go on a platform, how many years later, after writing these books, having your brand be Skinny Girl, you're talking about try everything and eat nothing, and I don't eat until I'm full? That to me sounds like some fucked up diet.
And
Like,
this is why
what?
it's so important to look at who you're getting your information from,
Yeah.
right? Because that someone who just wants to, I really want to start feeling better. Oh, this is piquing my interest. Oh, wait, it's written by someone who has an eating disorder. Maybe, I
Which
don't know.
I don't
Disordered
know if
eating, whatever she has.
I don't know if people like know that, because if they never watched Housewives, like,
Yeah.
and they just saw her on TikTok or they saw her book at like Barnes and Nobles or something, I
Yeah.
don't know if they would know that. Like on the show, she talks a lot about like her younger years, the trauma, like everything, because it's a
Yeah.
reality show. We're hearing everything. So somebody that's not tuned into Bravo might not know any of the
Right.
backstory and just see, oh, naturally thin.
Yeah.
I want that.
Yes. Yes. And it's just big, you have to be careful. And it's also funny for how introspective the facade of introspection that she puts up. She talks about her trauma. She talks about this. Bitch, you're still living it.
100%.
You're still there.
100%. 100%. And like, what's with the housewives or like people on reality TV, like bringing the camera into the therapy sessions?
Well, they're fake.
Right. But like, who even thinks like, oh, this is like a good idea? Like, to me, that's so fucking weird. And like,
Yeah.
Bethany would do that a lot. And like, they were actually talking about some like crazy shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
a girl, I need the trauma. I can't do this. Like, it just, I'm gonna be so real. Used to love her. She could do no wrong in my eyes on Housewives. Did I think she was crazy and like toxic and problematic? Yeah, but that's what made the show good.
Mm,
After some time on the show, I was like, all right, you know what? I can't keep defending you. I am a
yeah.
Bethany apologist and I can't do it anymore. And then she got off the show, which I was like, you know what? You needed to go because your energy was clogging up the space.
Yep. Yeah, I could see that. It's just, yeah, take home message. Just like be cautious of who you're getting information from because,
Yeah.
they're not all. she's didn't go to school for this. She doesn't
She
practice
went
it.
to
She
school
just
for something, but I don't care what she went to school for. There was an RD who was pregnant on TikTok talking about how like she drinks unpasteurized milk and
Oh wait,
like
I think I saw that
you know what I
too.
mean? So
I
like
think I did.
even going to school and having some sort of, certification, degree, etc. Still do your research because there are quacks everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like some people are fucking wild.
Before we go to our listener questions,
Yes.
I wanted to sneak in one more thing. I didn't do all the research on this, but I did a few TikToks.
I read this
And
article the other day.
yeah, on PubMed. No, I saw it on TikTok. And it doesn't need a lot of research to be honest. So apparently there was a store or a baking place, like a bakery that got in trouble, and they didn't get in trouble. The person who supplied them with donuts. So they bought donuts that were vegan and I want to say gluten
Okay.
free.
Okay.
For it's called Savory Fig. That's who the solo
Okay.
baker made. That's her company, Savory Fig. The donuts were from Dunkin' Donuts. They were not
Oh,
vegan and they were not gluten free. And
wait.
she bought donuts
I feel like
from
it's she knew she bought them from Dunkin' Donuts. She knew.
She bought them from
Oh,
Dunkin'
okay.
Donuts and said, "These are the donuts I made. They're vegan and gluten-free," and sold them to places. And then the places sold them and people were having reactions. And then or no, I think he was looking at the donuts and he was like, I
This
guess
fucking
Dunkin'
looks like
Donut
Dunkin' Donuts.
yeah, they either had the colors or something very, very similar. So he went and got them tested. I don't know if he got them tested before he sold them to the public, but he got them tested like to see if they were certified gluten free, and they weren't. And it was discovered they were bought from Dunkin'
Who
Donuts.
got them tested?
The person who bought them off Savory Fig
Oh, so Savory Fig
bought
bought
donuts from Dunkin' Donuts, and she's a baker, and she
and then
sold them to
oh,
places who
oh,
would
to
like,
like
oh,
smaller
yeah,
bakeries.
yes, and,
Okay,
like,
okay, okay, okay.
you know how, like, bakeries do that all over, like, they
Yes,
can like,
sure,
"Oh, you're
sure.
from here." Yeah.
That's so
Mhm.
wild.
And then they came back to her, were like, "What the actual fuck?" And then she, like, went silent.
That's mortifying.
I
That
know.
is so mortifying. And like, bitch, do you have nothing? Like,
Like,
what are you doing? That is
I don't
literally
know.
so weird. I don't like, oh, that is my thing. I fucking hate when people like mess with food that you're eating. Like
Like,
it,
you have celiacs, like
right. But I like, even that, like, I get so grossed out. Like certain foods sometimes, I get aversions to like meat all the time because
mhm.
like, I watch too many like crazy shows where like people are getting hacked up that I'm like, oh my God, like I don't trust people to cook my food sometimes. I get so weirded because I'm like, people like spit in your food at restaurants. Like, I thought you were gonna say like somebody like jizzed in a donut, like the way you were going. I was like, because shit is so crazy. I was listening
Yeah.
to this podcast and somebody was like, oh yeah, like, in high school, like they were hazing this kid and they peed in a Coke can and gave it to him. They jizzed in a thing. I was like, I don't trust people. So who the fuck? What is she doing? That is so insane.
I know. I was
Oh,
just like, "What the hell?" And I was like,
what
"I
a
need to look at."
loser now going silent. Like, you fucking show up for your
Like,
fucking
even
dishonesty.
right, even if you ran out of time, you're like, "I can't make these donuts." Then but why would
And
you
don't,
not
then don't. You know what?
then then don't or go to a gluten-free donut place and buy them. Be like, "Hey, I couldn't here's some donuts I picked up that are gluten." Why would you buy them from Dunkin' Donut? Like, there's literally so many things you could have done if you weren't able to give the product that you know what I mean, or a refund. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what was going on in her mind, but you're never going to recover from this if you thought it was
No.
okay. Because imagine if someone who had celiacs took it, or goes into like anaphylactic shock if they have,
You
gluten or
can't eat
dairy.
eggs or something or
Yeah, like you could seriously kill people.
oh
Like,
my
uh-huh.
God.
Mhm.
That's so embarrassing. So crazy.
Mhm.
Why would you put your business on the line like that? Like you are clearly just a careless person that
I
like
don't know.
that thinks the world revolves around you. 'Cause you're like, whatever, it's gonna be fine. It's totally fine. I'm just
Duncan will
being a
carry
big
me.
fat liar, and it's fine. Like,
You know what's go ahead.
what the no, no, I'm just like I'm enamored by the stupidity. And like remember I don't I messaged you on TikTok. Remember when Brittany Dawn, like, is that her name? Yeah.
Yes.
She like scammed a bunch of people with like her fitness app, and like she
Yep.
would only reply like good job girl or like stupid shit like that. And now
We should
she's
do
like,
like a deep dive and talk about we should
yes. Remember it was like literally like it was
we should
national
do that.
news.
We should do that. But because not yes, a
Yes.
lot of people probably haven't heard of her or don't remember. We should like actually spend time and like research this and
Let's
like
do an entire episode. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
I love that.
Her arc from fucking fitness girly pop to like now Jesus freak. And she's like,
And to now like exploiting children that she adopts.
discovered modesty. Yeah, oh my God, the biggest fucking ick and red flag. And she's just a
Yep.
toxic person. Like, she
Very.
is somebody that is like hides behind her religion. Like,
Yes.
she,
Yes.
I can't watch certain TikToks because it's like devil dancing or like some crazy shit. I'm like, bitch, what are you talking about?
No, I've seen some like
Wow, in
things that
class. What are you
thi
talking about?
things that like her and her husband like aren't allowed to do. Like they can't watch porn, I can't remember. There's like, just so many things
They
on
can't
the
probably
list.
listen to like they probably only listen to like Christian music and not like secular music.
What's secular? Anything else?
Secular is like outside of the church, so like any like hip hop
Uh,
or like country, like it's all like our God is an awesome God.
Stop.
Probably that's like when they used to like get down with like at my high school.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah. Oh, I can't wait until the episode with Lindsay comes out. That's like
Yeah,
not for like another 2 months, but
yeah.
we are not like Jesus haters. It just so happens that we just have different paths. Okay, well, Allie might be a Jesus hater based on her experience. Oh my God! Last thing, really quick, just because we're talking about Jesus, I sent you this last thing I saw. Let me open it up.
What?
Let me open it up. Let me open it up. Where is it? Okay, I sent to you last. Okay.
Lost.
Ohio, Chick-fil-A owner. You know how Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays because praise Jesus.
Yeah, and they're
State
super, super homophobic and
his name,
transphobic.
yes, his name is Stacy Austin. He's been arrested for driving over 400 miles. Driving for what? To where? To North Carolina. What was he gonna
Abortion.
do? Oh no. With ill intentions to meet a 15-year-old child on a Sunday.
But of course he did. Of
Of
course he
course.
did.
Of
Because it's
course.
always the fucking freaks that are like homophobic, transphobic. They're like totally into Jesus that are doing the most nefarious shit.
And this is why I
And
think
on
my
a
dad
Sunday,
I know,
he
I
said
know.
closed on a Sunday so I can go be a freak.
Literally, and
That's
dad, if you're lis
disgusting. That poor child.
oh, I know. I this is 100% why I believe this, and dad, if you're listening, this is not against you at all, but my dad went through, like, a period
What
a
are you
period
going to say?
I will tell you, my dad went through a period where he became very religious and really
Ooh,
wanted us to be Christians, and we're baptized, we went to church for a while, and I just felt like I didn't need to have a label to be a good person.
sure.
This is what I mean. Just because you have a label of Christianity does not mean you're a good person. Obviously, this man's a fucking pedophile,
That is
like,
so disturbing. That is so disturbing. I am
I
so
don't
glad
know
he
how
fought
accurate
and
it
he's in jail. No,
yes,
that is literally disgusting. And
yes.
are we totally surprised? No, I'm not surprised because it more times than not, like people in, you know, involved in the church heavily or just even like pretty religious, there's always something nefarious going on. I mean, look at the Catholic
Yeah.
Church. They were like all these like
Yes.
priests were like fucking around. It was disgusting. Like,
Well, you know the Vatican is where the country of the Vatican, like, it's its own
yeah,
separate
yes, yes,
entity in
yes.
Italy. That's where all the pedophile, priests go. That's where
Yeah.
they all live. Like, they all live there for the eternity because that's the only place they can go. Like, someone and
Just,
wherever you live gets caught, oh, take him to the Vatican. He'll
let's
just
get
live
just get
up
a free
there.
trip.
A free trip, basically. I
Yeah,
mean,
come
they
on. Just send him to jail. Come on now. We need priests in jail.
no, they're at the Vatican.
Yeah, that's fucking bullshit.
But I wonder what the percentage is of like molesters and pedophiles and how many of them are like very involved in a church. Like, what's the percentage? Does anyone know? Like, I want to know.
You know what? We could probably look that stat up without knowing anything.
99.9.
I believe it's a lot. I believe it's a lot. And I will say again, I didn't look it up. I don't know anything. But because of all the shit that you hear, wouldn't be surprised if that number was high. Would not be
Yeah.
surprised. Just like,
Yeah.
because what I feel it comes from is like a
Suppression,
suppression,
oppression.
just creepy thing. And it's like, it's just like, oh, if I just like lean into Jesus, maybe it will go away or whatever. And it's like, no, you act like
Mhm.
this is a serious problem. And like, this is, oh God, oh my
Yeah.
God, kill me.
I know, and this is a hard left turn here. We were going to talk about something specific for like, remember what I talked about today? I texted you about, getting
Oh,
stronger in the gym if you don't
yeah.
have like more equipment. But I think we should leave that for next episode because we're already like an hour in and we wanted to cover like one or two listener questions.
Yeah. You want to
Yeah.
hear, wait, one last thing.
Oh my God.
No, it's a bridge between
Okay.
the
Okay.
priests and getting strong.
We're not doing getting strong. We're doing that next time. We're doing listener
It's
questions.
still a good bridge. It's still a
Okay.
good
Okay.
bridge. So there's this comedian that I listened to. He was on a podcast and
Uh-huh.
he's from like Staten Island, I think. And
Who?
he's like, "Oh yeah, Chris Franjola." He's like
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's on some people
Oh,
sometimes I think he's
I know
like
you're gonna talk about.
ugh, so I can't, I don't like him all the time. I think he says a lot of problematic things,
Mhm.
but this one was really funny. He was like, "Oh yeah, like, we used to work out with this priest in like the basement of the church, and he would just like have us lift 2x4s, and we'd be in like tank tops or take our shirt off." And he's like, "We didn't really think anything of it. Like we were just doing contests like to see who was like the strongest." And like
Oh my god.
like what in the fuck? Like just like can you just picture these like teenage boys just like lifting 2x4s and this like creepo priest is just like watching them in the basement of a church.
Uh, I just got chills.
It's
Literally got chills. That's
gross.
so freaking creepy. Ugh.
Listening to him talk about I like was gobsmacked. I was like, no, no, no. Cause like you didn't just say that. Like that's not your real experience, but it was. And
Oh.
thankfully nothing ever happened to him and his
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
But how creepy. There was no good intentions happening.
Beyond. Oh, okay. On a positive note, listener questions. Let's talk about two of them. We've been saying we're gonna do listener questions for like 5,000 years, so let's
Sure.
finally do them.
It's a journey. Do you want to go first?
No, you can go first.
Okay, so a lot of the questions that I get about are mainly around nutrition because I talk a lot about managing my mental health, supporting my mental health, and also losing fat and like sticking
Mhm.
to a nutrition protocol. And somebody asked me like, do you rely on motivation to stick to your goals? Like how do you find or how do you find that discipline to the point where it's not stressing out your mental health? And I think it's really important to set ranges for yourself. So if you're
Mhm.
somebody that is counting calories or tracking macros, protein, carbs, fats, I am never going to tell my clients you need to zero out your macros. If your goal is 130 grams, I'm not going to tell you every day you have to eat 130 grams specifically or you have failed.
Mhm. Mhm.
First start working with clients, I'm like, let's give ourselves a 10-gram range. So 120 to 140. And if we can be in that 10-gram range, we're good. As we
Mhm.
get, a little bit more deeper into working together, we're going to
Mhm.
shorten that to a 5-gram range.
Mhm.
And some days are not going to be perfect. Some days you're going to be lower on protein or higher on fats, but it's important to just take a look at the data and be like, okay, how can I get a little bit closer to my goal tomorrow? And reminding yourself that not every meal is going to be tracked perfectly. Like if you're going out to dinner, if you're ordering food in, if you're having drinks, you're going over to your grandma's house, like you don't know what the fuck she's putting into that like lasagna, right?
Yeah.
So it's looking at things through the lens of I am going to do my best. I'm going to try and be as accurate as possible, but knowing there is flexibility. Today
Hmm.
might not have been the best day, but I stayed within my calories. Was I low on protein? Little bit, but I stayed within my calories. So tomorrow I'm going to aim to stay within my calories and hit my protein and just move forward and try to not let that anxious mind come into it. And that's a lot of the work that I do with my clients because it's easier said than done. Um,
Hmm.
and a lot of people don't know that they need to work on the mindset first. Like it's just like, oh, give me macros. I want to track macros. I want to just like know
Yeah.
numbers I need. But if we don't focus on the mindset, you're going to constantly be hung up
Yeah.
in the fact that you didn't zero things out perfectly or it wasn't the day that you thought it was going to be, right? And I think a part of my mental health journey was letting go of being perfect because I could zero
Hmm.
out macro. I could do everything perfect to a fucking T and it didn't bother me. It didn't feel restrictive. I liked that rigidness. But now that I have a lot of anxiety, I have a high level of anxiety, I can't function that way. It's not going to work for me. So we have to understand where we are and meet ourselves halfway. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that's part of the discipline is aiming to not be perfect and like being okay with that because for the anxious people that's the being perfect is going to be your downfall every single time you are going to fail at some point and then it's probably going to unravel a lot of the work that you've done so that
Yeah.
really is kind of part of the discipline and I never rely on motivation. I'm like 8 out of 10 never motivated because
Oh, I hate people that are like, I just need to gain motivation. Like, I don't hate
yeah
them, but
yeah
it's just such a
God.
superficial. Yeah, it's
Yep,
just like it happens. Like I always say, like we both say, whatever gets you in the gym to start, like
yep,
whether it's like you started with beach body, you started with orange 3 or whatever, those are great avenues to
yep,
find a path that actually works well for you and then also gets you results.
yep,
But when it comes to motivation, like I have like a master class on this where I talk about like motivation, like why I don't use it, why I don't recommend it is because it's fleeting. It will
mm-hmm,
last, let's say for me, when I was getting married, I was like, okay, I really want to get super strong, go through a bulking phase, and then lean out as much as I can. My
yep,
motivation was for my wedding. If
yep,
I would have just relied solely on that, that was like 2 years ago, almost going on 2 years ago. Like
uh,
I if I was just relying on motivation, I probably would have gained weight or let myself just kind of like get super lazy with what I'm doing, but I don't rely on it that
yep,
way. I You can have motivation for a single event, but you need to have more of a deeper why of why
yeah,
you're doing these things, and what's the greater purpose of this so you can keep working at a goal.
yeah,
So it becomes motivation can be the kickstarter, that's totally fine, but discipline is what gets you consistently showing up. Like there are times like this morning, I woke up a little bit earlier. There was snow on the ground. I ran out of a propane tank, so my gym was freezing. My gloves, I burned them, so they're like it was a hot mess express. Like it was freezing. Do you think I wanted to work out?
no.
No, no.
Every reason to be like, fuck this, I'm going back inside.
Yes, and but I'm very, very disciplined. I get my 4 workouts in a week. I wake up, I get work done, I show up for myself,
And
and
let's
because
like also pause that. You said
yeah,
4 workouts a week.
yeah.
We're not saying you have to show up and get kick ass workouts 7 days a week. We actually don't
No,
do that.
no.
So this is the part where people also get confused. You do 4 days a week and you go in there and you do it to the best of your ability.
Mhm.
And that's another part of the discipline. Like you have to listen to yourself and say, okay, do I need a rest day or is this part of the plan today where I'm going
Mhm.
into the gym? So I wanted to point that out because
Yeah, yeah.
I feel sometimes discipline can get confused for, you know,
Being crazy, crazy strict.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. And we, like Allie said, she's not trying to zero out her macros every day. She's just trying to do the best she can. And, if today wasn't as great as she wanted, she can make sure tomorrow she prioritizes more protein if she was
Mm,
under in protein, things like that. So I think it's just, having realistic goals, having a deeper connection. You can use motivation to get started, or if you need a
mhm.
little, like, kind of like, oh, I need something to get me going. If I'm feeling a little bit down, or a new goal set, a new goal in mind. Like for
Yep.
me, just thinking about like Spanish, having someone tell me like, "Oh, it's a little bit splotchy what you know." I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Okay, I need to tighten the reins a little bit." That's fine, but you can't solely rely on the next event because you don't know when the next event's coming and it's going to go. Discipline, who said it? I forget his name. I discipline equals freedom. You probably know. Do you not know who said that?
I don't know who said that, but I've heard it.
It's so popular, I feel bad, let me look it up. But anyway, so if I think of it, I'll
Yeah, yeah.
throw it below. But discipline truly for me equals freedom because I know what things I need to accomplish. I'm not sitting here like, "Oh, I should do that." It's no, I'm gonna get my workout done, and I'm gonna get done, and then I can move on with my
Yeah.
day. So, yeah, I really push people to move past the idea of you always have to be motivated because 9 times out of 10, I am not motivated to do much.
Right. And I feel it's also important to reverse engineer your goals so that
Yes.
you can constantly hold on to that thing that's exciting you. For me, and I was telling Kelsey, my coach, this when we first started working together, I was like, I know where I'm at and I know where I want to be. And like I was not engaged at that time, but I was like, I just want to feel good for it was my friends' weddings. We had 3 weddings that were coming up. I was like, I know I'm not going to be exactly where I want to be, but I want to feel the best I can by these weddings. And I'm not going to do any crazy shit. I know you're not going to tell me to do crazy shit, but this is the goal that I have in mind. So we work backwards. And on the days where I was like just dragging, I'm like, you want to feel good. You're fucking paying for this. Like you
Yep.
have these goals in your
Yep.
mind. And so I would put on some good music and I would just picture myself feeling really good at those weddings.
Mm.
And that is kind of a way that I sometimes use motivation. Not always going to rely on it, but I think about what am I working towards? And if you're working towards building more muscle or finally feeling stress free, like going out on a dinner date, like picture where you want to see yourself. And then sometimes that's all you need. Um,
Mhm.
but sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes motivation doesn't work. And you just have to like give yourself a swift kick in the ass and be like,
Mhm.
I'm just going to do it. I don't care if I'm happy about it. Sometimes you just have to do it.
Mhm.
And once you're done, you're going to be like, well, I don't regret that. At least I did it. And maybe it was
Yeah.
a workout, but I did it.
Yes, yeah. It's kinda like I saw this stupid thing. Oh, and by the way, discipline equals freedom, it's Jocko Willink. That's who said that. That
Oh, yes,
yeah.
yes,
And
yes.
he's a whole 'nother topic we could talk about one day about pushing things too far.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
I like years ago saw
yeah.
him on a
What
podcast. That could
I
be
was gonna
interesting.
Yes, I was gonna say something and it just went like poof out of my mind. Yeah, it's gone.
Okay.
But anyway, where are we going with this? But yeah, I don't my it's my mind went blank, so
Do
go
you
ahead.
have a question, a viewer question that you want to talk about?
Not necessarily. I feel like we're going what? Did I
Oh,
have one I told you about?
and then no, yeah, and then I forgot you wanted to talk about it after because we're kind of running low, the stronger thing.
Yeah, yeah, like how do we get stronger if we are limited on equipment? Because I just switched to a different style of training and I'm
Yeah.
loving it. And definitely we could talk about next time.
Yeah, we will
Um,
leave you wanting more because
yes.
I have an anecdote, a story, whatever you will call it, a comment about that. And
Mhm.
it's good. It's like when as soon as you text me that, I was like, ooh, want to share that because let's
Yes.
just as a teaser, a lot of people make excuses because they don't have equipment.
Oh, yeah, and this one
No.
or you have, like, 1 or 2 things, or yeah,
Right.
even without equipment. Yeah, you would literally need equipment for this too, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there anything else you wanna say before we wrap it up?
Um, I don't think so. I feel we went all over the place. We were roundabout. We took left and right turns, and I'm here for it because
Mhm,
honestly, as we're recording this on a Monday, and it is a couple weeks before it will come out, this is the energy I needed, right? Like this
mhm,
low key gave me a hit of, if you will call it motivation, because now I'm like, I'm in a good mood, working
mhm.
out's great now. So to tie it all together, like find the things that recharge you or that get you
Yes.
excited.
Yeah.
Um, and then you're not always just relying on like the discipline in like an intense like way that maybe you're just like, oh, like I just need to be disciplined. Like if you can
Mhm,
find the things that excite you and recharge you, then you're still holding yourself accountable to that discipline, but it's not
mhm.
as like angry. It feels like, oh fuck yeah, like I am
Yeah.
sticking to my goals. I am being disciplined. I'm in a good mood. Now I'm gonna like go and crush the rest of my day. Like recording days always give me the vibes.
Yeah, and I think even to add on to that, if you are feeling overwhelmed by your goal,
Yeah.
maybe let's make bite-sized goals and make them a little
Mm,
bit smaller. And like that way they're not as like, oh my God, how am I gonna lose 50 pounds? Let's just focus on the habits that could get
yeah.
us to lose that. That's why I always talk about bite-sized goals and why it's important to break things down. Because for me, for example, right now, when I think about trying to get to bilingual status with
Yeah.
Spanish, like that sounds daunting. So I'm going to break it down. What could I focus on today? What can I focus on that's going to get me to that goal, but it's not like I got to be bilingual by next year, right? And just
Right.
accepting some things are going to take a little bit longer. So I hope yeah, I think that was a really good conversation about that.
Yeah. Love it. Love it.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening or watching the Kind of Hot, Kind of Healthy. Please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review us so we can reach more women just like you. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere where you can stream podcasts. If you have a burning question about life, friendships, health, and 1 or 2 cents, email us at kindahotpod@gmail.com. That's KINDAHOTPOD at gmail.com. Bye.
Bye.